beautiful day in Alicante. Oh, look at that around. Yeah, too easy.
Haven't clapped it in.
Oh, it's already rolling.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Now it's
there we go. Now we're good.
Now it's synced.
We're out here. It's a beautiful day out here. It's a Sunday. We just thought it'd be cool to do some sort of podcast or just some sort of really quick conversation, kind of stemming, back to what we did already over at the castle, literally on the other end. But we also have a new person as well that has also been involved with us for a good amount of time. So we're just gonna kind of do introductions and then get into it. But most importantly, Tom Copley, right?
Yes, sir. How we doing, guys?
Yeah. So just to kind of give an idea, just with yourself, who you are, how'd you get into the sales space, and most importantly, what you learned on this trip.
For sure. I've been in the online sales space for probably about 18 months, but I'm one of the lead closers on the same offer as Matthew.
Yep.
So it's great to be out here with everybody, and I think enjoying that sort of camaraderie of online people and getting to meet new people. So it's been amazing. I feel like taking some time to relax, but also sort of repivot.
Yeah.
So it's been a great trip so far. We're not even finished yet. But what a view, right where we are here now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
it's like a work hard, play hard.
Sure. It's the best of both worlds.
Awesome. Okay, so with yourself prior to sales, how did you actually find the actual offer? How did you get into it? Because I feel like for all of us, we all have completely different stories.
Sure.
And it's pretty unique to see them.
Sure. I feel like originally it started a couple of years ago in regards to just the whole making money online without a clear idea of how it's actually done. Sort of just trial and error with a little bit of e-com. That didn't work.
Yeah.
And I was in sales through a 9-to-5, but it was not very commission incentive or hourly friendly. So a lot of people then in Cavan who were doing door-to-door phone sales, they transitioned into online sales, and me and a friend took up the opportunity to join a networking group and an online sales high ticket group, and we were able to slowly get our foot in the door, start with an offer, start with cold calling, triaging. So it's been a very step-by-step process to get here.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it. I think I've learned from a lot of mistakes that I've had, and I think sticking with a company and planting your flag with an offer does tend to pay over, because you can start to exceed in the ranks and instead of jumping ship. So I kind of learned from that as well.
It's sort of like the exponential thing where we all tried a bunch of different little side hustles, a bunch of different little online shit, and then it ultimately led us to here. But I feel like the entire route that we took, it was just, there wasn't a point where we're just completely drop ship. It was all just slow, gradual
incremental
rise.
Changes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So with yourself, we're out here, kind of give them an idea, at least, with yourself coming into the sales space, what are you kind of doing right now? Because I know you're kind of going into your transition for a new offer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this month has been an interesting one for me. So coming out here, I had a really, really strong offer with a couple of people from one of the communities we're part of, Affinity Sales Training. And we had a couple of issues with that offer, to put it lightly. And so coming out, I expected it to be one thing, and then very quickly realised it was not going to go to plan. And so this month's been an interesting one for me. I've had to do a lot of sort of networking. I've had to do a lot of reintroductions with people and a whole bunch of different things to actually find a new offer and then be able to plant my flag. And now I've actually been able to do so. The offer that I'm going to be moving on is one that I found via Deal Fuel, which is Devante's sort of program for anyone that's interested in finding a new offer for themselves. And so it's been a really interesting sort of wake-up call, because things can change really, really quickly when you're least expecting them. And I think it's a reminder of that. It's obviously been something that's happened in the past on my journey. These sort of things are testing and trying. But let me tell you, in terms of a group of guys to be around, sitting in paradise with them on a very similar journey, there's definitely worse ways to have issues with the way it goes, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I feel like for people watching that aren't in the space, and to understand that it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows.
For sure.
You're going to have like you could have a really great month or a really shit month, so it just depends on how you react. So like with yourself, like we've been going through that to kind of see the progression. I mean, for people that don't know this space, how, like, is there any sort of advice you can give them, especially coming into this? Like, look, there's going to be challenges, like, you know what I mean?
So I came from a 9 to 5. I worked a typical sort of, similar to yourself, low commission incentive, just 9 to 5 sales job. And when you move into this space, you must be prepared for the fact that it's not a regular job. It's just not going to go the way you thought it was going to. And there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be road bumps, and there's going to be things that you just didn't expect was going to happen. And I'll put it plainly, if you don't think that you cut out for the potential for your work to just instantly stop, or for whatever you're doing to just collapse in front of you, or any number of random things that you wouldn't be accustomed to in a regular sort of 9 to 5, then I'd probably recommend you not come into this space, because it can be really, really good, and it can be really, really shit, and it can change really, really quickly. And so if you do think you cut out for it, the payoff on that is that it is quite lucrative if you make it work, right? Like,
if you can be adaptable, because you're going to have to work weekends, you're going to have to work early mornings, late nights, and it's sporadic. It is down to though how you react and how you take it.
It's not a traditional life. If you want a regular, I'm not trying to shit on the idea of a regular sort of cookie cut life, but if you want the traditional grow up, family, kids, house, sort of spend your weekends doing whatever, I really wouldn't recommend this, because it's much more stress than that. It's also a very, very different lifestyle. But on the opposite side of things, if you're already looking into sort of running your own business, or you want to do something entrepreneurial in the first place, I really don't think there's a better way to start than doing something like this, because it gives you the freedom without all the risk. You do take on some risk, but it's a more medium level compared to starting and running your own business. There's not people that you're directly resulted in sort of having to feed them, I guess. Like, if the business collapses, you're not the one that's holding the baby of paychecks and people's livelihood. So that's the sort of main difference that you do have. And then also you don't have to build the entire company or anything like that. You just sort of jump on and start selling it. And so for people that are looking for something like that, that's maybe a little bit in between, I definitely recommend online sales for that.
It's kind of like, and me and Tom, we had a meetup out in London with one of the guys that owns our offer. And to give you sort of context, the actual guy himself, has multiple businesses. He can travel literally anywhere. He can literally snap his fingers and he's in a whole different country, private jet access, all that crazy stuff, right? And one of the biggest things that he said, and even Sean, what was it like? Obviously, like Sean and stuff like that, like our actual manager, he said it was like treated like a business.
Treat yourself like a business.
Now is a business.
Right? Absolutely. Like, even down to, I think I've started to realize that to be a high performance sales rep, it's also like being a high performing athlete. Even down to what you do and how you set your day, how you set your week, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so, you need to be on top of your game in loads of different areas. Otherwise you will burn out, or will just, not put in the most amount of effort to get the most amount of results. And it's just you in this. It's so solo. We can work together and there's networking, but it's just you as the representative. So I think maximizing, giving yourself the best chance.
It's like you make your bread the way you make it, and nobody else is technically responsible for you not making that. So it's like, another thing too is for people also, because this whole channel, this whole YouTube is simply, it's not to teach people, but at the end of the day, it's to document the process.
Absolutely.
So for somebody also seeing this on the outer lens and everything, I know you have to build that discipline and all that stuff. What are some natural things you do on your day-to-day right now that you feel correlate to sales that help you out exponentially? Like, what would you guys say?
Mindfulness. So meditation is something that I could do to practice a little bit more, but being mindful is definitely something that will help you. And what do I mean by that specifically? I mean sitting with your own thoughts and actually processing what you're going through, right? So your head, the moment you wake up out of bed, is going to be full of anything but what you should be focusing on, right?
Yeah.
And so realigning with yourself on what your goals are, what you're trying to do here, what you need to achieve, and what you actually have to do in order to achieve those goals is something that I don't think enough people practice, and I think would benefit a lot of people. And just being able to sit with yourself and have a hard conversation, maybe have an easy conversation, or really just a chat to yourself about anything that you need to, probably one of the best things you can do. Because especially whilst I've been out here, I've been going you're fighting your own demons, right? Is it time to do something else? Is it, is this even worth it? But sitting, analysing, going, okay, what are my options here? How do I sort of assess this, and what's my next game plan? It allows you to think with clarity and then act accordingly. And I think that's definitely something that's really powerful.
Exactly. What would you say?
Absolutely. It's on a similar note. That ties into reflection and sort of self-assessment, which I think are very, very huge, important parts of what we do, because we kind of also always have to get better in our role.
Yeah.
We can't just plateau, otherwise you won't work for an offer or a good one.
Yeah.
So from the moment you wake up, the likes of some guys who are ahead of us in our position, I've always spoke about this, is clear your mind, write down your thoughts at the start of the day, get out, get in the sun, don't wake up and just start to think about dialing or taking some closing calls. Do the other things to set your day right, set yourself right, and then at the latter half of the day, in the evening, do the opposite. So do a reflection of your day, do a recap, what were you grateful for. And I feel like starting to do that over the past couple of months has helped, and I took a period off that, but I'd done it last year, and I wrote down these things. I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, they're shooting out here.
They're shooting
There's a bit
mad
of a
fire.
fiesta
Sorry.
out here.
Well, yeah, I think reflection, I think manifestation, writing down your thoughts, I think it can all be super, super helpful.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's the mindset thing, because at the end of the day, everything correlates to everything, obviously, that you do. So I'd say just from the military perspective of the discipline was just the biggest thing, in
Sure.
my opinion. That has thrown me at a whole different direction. It's the fact that I take care of everything. I make sure everything's in order. I got my shoes pressed on in different areas, but it comes down to that, right? It's just to clear your headspace.
Yeah.
It's to clear your mind, right?
Because there can be so much clutter in your mind without you realizing. And so doing these things where you just sit down and you try and be comfortable with yourself, with nothing else, no stimuli, no music, no lights, phones, anything. And a lot of people find that hard to do, but it's very important.
It's the power to it. But
Very important.
yeah, so with that being said, this is always going to be a short one. It's not going to be something where you can simply have it playing in your background and think you're going to learn anything from it. Definitely digest this at the end of the day. We're going to be doing more of these, but this will probably be the last one that we'll be doing in Alicante. And what a better way to close this off with you guys, with an incredible view. We got the water out there. We got everything. And aside from that, we're going to close it off. So from the top of the world, boundaries still don't exist. The bottom of the depths where life still lives. Do you dare to dream? As a matter of fact, do you dare to take the next step? See you guys later.
Peace.